In the next couple of videos, we're going to be looking at making various conversions. You would usually have this table available to you, so you don't have to memorize the conversions, but you do need to know how to use them. There's just a few things I want to point out to you, so let me start and take a look, for example, at this relationship. So this says that a millimeter up here is equal to 10 to the minus third meter. So that means that a millimeter is 1,000th of a meter. But you could just as easily say that there are 10 to the third millimeters in 1 meter. And in fact, for whatever reason, I typically write it with this kind of relationship, using the 1,000 millimeters in a meter as opposed to 1 millimeter is 1,000th of a meter. Maybe it's just personal preference. The other thing that I wanted to say something about was at the bottom here, and this is the relationship between cubic units in the metric system and the other way to express volume. So down here, if you have a cube, here, let me get my little pointer. So, okay, whoops, there we go. Okay, so if you have a cube that's 10 centimeters on each side, so like down in there, there are 10 of those little centimeters this way, and there are 10 that way, and then it also goes 10 vertically. So if you multiply 10 by 10 by 10, of course, that's going to be 1,000, and then the units are going to become 1,000 cubic centimeters. Well, 1,000 cubic centimeters by definition is a liter, and a liter is 1,000 milliliters. So the takeaway from that one is basically that 1 cubic centimeter is the same as 1 milliliter. And you will see in problems sort of a shifting around. Sometimes they'll say cubic centimeters, sometimes they'll say milliliters, and I'll do the same thing. That's just one of those things. It's assumed that you will know. Okay, I think that's everything for the moment. Oh, one other thing I should say is most, but not all, of these conversions are exact conversions. So, for example, there are 100 centimeters exactly in 1 meter, just like there are exactly 12 inches in 1 foot. Some of them are not exact. For example, if you look at the conversion for grams to pounds, it's 453.6 grams equals a pound. That's actually approximate, but in almost all cases that's going to be good enough for us. In fact, typically people use 454 grams equal to a pound. As we get ready to make some conversions, I came across a list much longer than this. I picked out the highlights of this list of some kind of silly conversions. So 365.25 days of drinking light beer is called a light year. The basic unit of laryngitis is 1 horsepower. Half a large intestine is a semicolon. Haha. And 1,000 aches is a megahertz. Okay, I don't know if those are funny or not, but I thought you might like those. Okay, now that we've got a few basics out of the way, let's go through this concept of a conversion. So the first thing that you want to do is write down the information that you're given. In this case, there's just the length of this trout, which is 16.2 inches long, and we want to change it to centimeters. So in order to make any of these changes, you have to know a relationship between what you have and what you're looking for. So we have this relationship, which we can get from the conversion table. And what this gives us is 2 possible conversion factors. So we could either put 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch, or we could put 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters. So if you think about it up here, we are wanting to change from inches to centimeters. So the way that we do that is we put the 2.54 centimeters on top, then on the bottom, so that we can cancel it, we put the inches. We're going to cancel inches exactly the same way that you would cancel x's or y's in your math class. When I multiply that on the calculator, I get 41.148, and that would be centimeters. Now let's apply the rules that we learned earlier to get the correct number of significant figures. So this is an exact conversion, so they're exactly 2.54 centimeters in an inch. And this one only has 3 significant figures, so we want our answer to have 3 significant figures, and we're rounding off this part, which is less than 5, so 41.1 centimeters. Okay, so for an answer to be completely correct, you have to have the right number, you have to have the right number of significant figures, and you must have the units. There's almost never a case in chemistry where you're going to have an answer that doesn't have units. Okay, so now we're going to try another conversion problem, and this one has a different aspect. You have 89.6 meters, or sorry, not meters, miles per hour, and you're changing that to meters per second. So you have 2 units that you have to change. You have to change miles into meters, and you have to change hours into seconds. Changing hours into seconds is pretty straightforward. There's 60 minutes in an hour and 60 seconds in a minute. So that's pretty clear. Notice we use that same sort of canceling technique that we used before, right, where we cancel from numerator to denominator. Now we need a conversion factor that will take us from miles into meters. If we look on the conversion table, we see that there are 1.609 kilometers in a mile, and we also know, or we look up, that there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. And that gives us everything we need. So now, in the problem, notice that we're putting the miles in the denominator, and the kilometers goes in the numerator. And then we put meters on top, and we put kilometer on the bottom. Okay, on your calculator, when you do this, you should do 89.6 times 1.609 times 1,000. And then you really don't have to use parentheses. You can just divide by 60 and divide by 60 again. If that seems confusing to you and you're more comfortable using parentheses to keep everything straight, that's fine also. Okay, when we multiply all this, again, we get more significant figures than we can justify. So we're going to round off to 3 significant figures, because 3 is what we had in the initial part of the problem, the 89.6.